So nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining me and tuning in to Journaling with Intention. And I know I skipped last week, and thank you so much for those of you who were able to roll with the punches there on that one. But I'm back, and we are starting a new month, which is July. I know it's kind of crazy. So we're going to set up our book. We're going to set up our month for July, and we're going to set up our week, and just to make sure everything's all set. And for me, I'm on summer vacation, which is exciting, but also a little hard because I tend to lose my schedule. So I have to really, really be good about keeping up on a schedule. So we're going to talk about that today. Hey, Phyllis, and thanks, Anne, for the shout out, for giving me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I am going to jump right down because we got a lot of work to do. And I forgot that we're starting a new month today, which is exciting. All right, so here is my book, and I wanted to start off today. I haven't been doing the best in making sure and kind of keeping up with all of the stuff. I'd love to know how you're doing for all of this. Hey, Melly. Hey, Tina. I hope everybody is doing well. And so for my book today, I have not been doing great things. So this is where we ended up. We were doing Sights and Sounds of Summer, kind of some places. I was using the Amy Tan release, and really excited. That's kind of set up my book. And for this, just going to get that color a little bit better. So this is kind of where we ended up. And I have to say, I haven't done the last couple of weeks, so I really need to make sure that I do that. And I have not been super great about setting things up. So that's what we're going to focus on, is to set things up. So I'm going to actually go ahead and start with my July. And I did not grab those stamps. So I'm going to do this a little bit freehand. Yeah, I do too, Anne. It's like I go ahead and sometimes I get busy. It's one of those things that it's part of meditation for me, if you will. And the class that we had yesterday on all of the Zentangles, that is very meditative. And so I was going to talk about that, about how you can use that, just kind of simple things to be meditative as we go along. So I was working on the Zentangles from yesterday. That's as far as I got before I got called away. But I know some of you guys made some really gorgeous cards from yesterday. So that's, always really honestly the best thing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And so I'm going to start by setting up my July. And our month banners are really that point in time when we start to think about what is it that we want to focus on this month, and what are the things that we want to do. And I've tried to make these a little bit different each month, just to kind of use up some of the things that I have in my stash. And what I have with me right now, so you can see I've drawn some things, I've stenciled some things, used some die cuts and whatever. Hey, Nancy, I hope you're doing well. Hi, Nisa. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate it. I'm just going to do some really light stenciling with some bright colors. And I think about, when I think about July, of course, I'm always thinking about like red, white, and blue, kind of those types of colors. And I'm going to grab this some nice reds, and obviously I don't have white too much. So in the place of white, I'm actually going to use that rose gold. I'm going to use some rose gold ink. So I'm going to actually start out, and I used this a little bit last time. This is the Amy Tangerine for Altenew stamp set. And I'm actually going to use this to create some rainbows over here. And we're going to use that for, I'm just going to use that for my backdrop on here. And you can see how nice and big these are. And I've used these sideways So you can kind of think about them as actually using them. And this is how I use them sideways to create little places where I could write. But I'm actually going to use this as a true rainbow today for my July piece. And I'm going to keep with that red, white, and blue. And I'm going to use some of the Amy Tan inks. So I have Coral Red, I have Ride the Wave, and then I have that Rose Gold. And I'm actually going to pop out that Cherry Red for Cherry Sweet. And I'm going to add a little silver lining for my white. So let me know, have you guys got this set? Have you got the colors? What do you think about those? Let me know. So these Amy Tangerine colors, do you guys have them? They're absolutely fabulous. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I want this to be really, really nice and big. So I'm going to put this right in the middle of everything. And what's nice is this comes with a mask with all these little masks, which is really nice. So I can take these little masks and I can mask off the ones that I don't want. That one's not the right one. All right, so let's see. I think it's this one. Yep, there we go. So that's nice because I can just go ahead and I can mask that off. Oh, that's great. Yeah, the ink colors, they're so fabulous, right? Oh, that's a good idea, Tracy. So that way it's not in a book. It's kind of out in your face. So that way you always have those charts and everything around. So that way you see them. Actually, I think I want to start with red. I was about to start with blue. I'm going to start with red. All right, so I'm going to grab this Cherry Sweet. And I'm just going to lightly brush this on because I'm going to be using this and stamping over it. So I want to keep it bold and bright, but I also want to keep it a little bit on the lighter side so that way I can see what the heck is going on with it. And I think I'm going to do a little mix and match stencils. All right, and just coming up here. And this red is so nice. Obviously with a red like this, immediately I'm going to clean off this stencil. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, so that was Cherry Sweet. And I'm going to go ahead and grab this. And then let me just wipe this off. And I wipe this off because red is just that color that just likes to stain on us. And I still haven't filled up my bottle with alcohol. So I'm just using the cleaner. So this is Altenew stamp cleaner. And it does a really great job of cleaning off stencils and cleaning stuff as long as you're quick. If you're quick on it before that red will have a chance to penetrate, it will go right on in. It will not go right on in. All right, so now that that one is done, I'm going to grab my second stencil. And now I'm going to grab this one. So this is the second grouping. And I like these because they're kind of made to be a little wonky in terms of like where they're not going to perfectly fit. And I really like that. So I'm going to come in with silver lining, and I'm using this as my white, if you will. And it's just this really soft gray, but I'm using this as my white. And I think I have a little blue on here because I'm using my blue blending brush, and that's okay. We're making a new color. Sometimes it's exciting what you have. I don't always, I don't usually clean off my brushes. That way you can get something new. So there's our red and our white. And then I'm going to put in my blue. So I'm using the same color that's on here. And then I'm going to transfer back to that first stencil. And I'm going to use that big mask just in case, just because these are a little too close for my comfort. And I'm just going to grab the Ride the Wave. And this is a nice bright blue. Okay. And do we have any plans for the 4th? For the 4th of July, anything fun coming up? We are not doing much here. People where I live have already started putting out some fireworks. So it's getting a little noisy last night. By the way, fireworks are illegal in where I live. All right, there we go. Crafting, yes, Tracy, that probably will also be what I'm doing. I have a fun thing that I'm going to talk about today if you guys want to join in, and we'll get to that once I get to my weekly planner. All right, so I have this. Now, I was thinking about what would be really cool is this big massive July right on the bottom of this. So this is my little red, white, and blue. Oh, you know what's interesting, Nisa? So purple to me, or sorry, I always do pink before red, or I do pink after purple, because pink is kind of a mismatch of them. But as you know, rainbow really isn't Roy G. Biv. It's, it's all different wavelengths of light. And so even though we as humans, we try to pinpoint and put labels on everything, really all those colors are in there. But I'm with Anne. I usually put pink before red, or depending on the shade of pink, I'll put it after the purple. So good color, good ideas on that. I just want to see what this looks like. I'm just going to try a little bit of this rose gold. And I'm just going to grab, I have a little guy. That's my other guy. I have these little extra brushes that I keep. And this one I'm going to use for metallics. All right, so let me see. I just want to try the rose gold on this and see how this goes. This also has a coordinating stamp set with it that I could add little doodads, but I'm not going to use that for this because I want to keep it a little bit more subtle because it's in the background. All right, that's not bad. Again, I'm trying to keep it as a little bit subdued, and these are all right. Oh my gosh, Tina, serious storm watch. I know, sorry, Tracy, I always sneak that in. Sneak science in, it's always in there. Yeah, legal in Florida. Yep. I know, where I live, there's just not a lot of stuff that's legal. So, then there's some stuff that is. And let's see, I saw one up here. And Nancy, I'm with you. Those fireworks, they're just going to keep on going off and off and off. And I feel so bad for the animals, the dogs and the cats, because they don't know what the heck is going on, They don't know. All right, so here's my little guy. Now I want to come in, and I'm going to go ahead, and there's two things I'm going to do. So there's this Milky Way stencil, which has these really, really great stars, and I thought that would be great. But before I get to this, because I want to see how this all lines up, I'm going to go ahead and put in my July. And I'm just going to use Obsidian ink, and I'm just going to stamp right over my little guy here. And to make sure that I'm kind of as close as possible, I'm going to use a very, very light pencil line because I do want to stamp this as straight as possible. And I am just not that person that does things in a straight line. Just does not work for me. I know, it's just Tracy, I know. As much as I love fireworks, it's like there was a group I'm on, and they were just let's see, July. So that is July. So I'll start with the L. You. They were talking about that because they're all putting little kids to bed, and I was definitely that person when I had the kids and I had to get them in bed, and it took so much effort to get them in bed. I was not happy with the fireworks, gotta say. All right, so the reason why I'm not starting with the J or the Y is because I want this to be centered. So I'm going to start with the centered, but unfortunately, you're in a situation where you have 4 letters. So there's really no true center. So I'm just going to start with the L here. And then I'm going to do the U right next to it. All right, perfect. I'm going to do the U right next to it. Oh no, Nancy, that's terrible. Right next to that. That's not good. That's not cool. Yeah, fireworks. All right. So here's my U, and that line really helps because it's giving me that place. And I'm just going to come back in and erase it once the ink is dry, and no harm, no foul. Or you can keep it there, put some washi tape on it, whatever the heck you want to do. But no harm, no foul. Hey, Barb, hope you're doing well. I hope your week has gone well. Today we are setting up July. I am using the Amy Tangerine Through the Rainbow stencil, and I'm just putting in July. And we talked about when you're doing this, you really want to make sure, because I wanted to stamp it straight and centered, I started with the middle. And this was the other reason, if you guys were like, oh, it's so high, that was because this Y has a long tail. And so that's why I made sure that it's going to come down. Okay, and here we go. All right. I'm doing well. Sometimes I don't hit this. Of course, I said that, and now my J will be off, but that's okay. Nobody sees this book except you guys and me. So, all right, now here's my J. So here's my last one. And here is my J. And I'm going to go just a little slightly down with that, but right next to that U. And again, if you'd started, and you can do whatever you want to, it's your book. But for me, I just want it, because I have this rainbow, I wanted it to be as centered as possible. So there we go for July. Oh, wow. Barb, I didn't know you did quilting. I tried that a while ago, and that's what we're going to talk about, is bringing back all of those kind of crafts that you either don't have time for, or you kind of tried, but you kind of abandoned those craft projects. That's going to be a little bit of our conversation today, is how do we kind of bring those back, those little craft projects. All right, so I just have a little Sharpie pen, and I'm just going to go ahead and put in the year. And I'm just putting this in with my own handwriting. I think it's nice to have your own handwriting in your book, because it does give something for you. Yeah. Nancy, if you, this set is fabulous, and it does take a little bit of practice to line them up, but there's always just a little overlap. And that's why I like doing this with a clear block, because then I can see where it's going to go. And then if, Nancy, here's the kicker. You ready? If you ever like miss, just get a black pen and fill the line in. And then it totally looks like you did it. It totally looks like you did it. And Barb, you and I have to have a conversation about quilting because that's one of my abandoned past projects. Is I think I started to teach myself how to quilt when I was 18 and just did not pick it up. But I want to I want to teach myself how to sew better. Right now, all I can do is sew in a straight line. I know that's how you sew, but I've made some things, but would like to try some more. All right, there we go. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this back. This is a great set. This is an oldie but a goodie. This is from 2020. 2020, that feels like it's forever ago, but yet like yesterday, which is a little scary. All right, so there's my July. Now I want to add a little bit of stars. So I'm going to grab the Milky Way stencil. Now this is technically a layered stencil, and I've used this a ton. Many different ways with embossing paste. This is another oldie but a goodie. This is from 2019. This is a really great one. So you could use just these little stars on their own. These little stars are meant to line up in these big stars. I've done this with different types of embossing powder. I've done this a whole bunch of different ways, but it really is fabulous. And then for those of you, I think I showed this before, this stamp conditioning eraser also works great as a normal eraser. So I can just come in and just erase that line. And it's like it never happened. So I think my black ink and all my ink is dry. Don't do this until you're sure your ink has dried. But since I've been touching it and nothing has happened, then I know it's dry. There we go. All right, so now my little July is floating. Oh, no way. Yeah, I agree, Barb. It's like too many projects and not enough time. That's kind of what I was thinking about. All right, so I kind of like this. The Milky Way stencil, it obviously comes in this curve, and that's what I wanted to do, was just to give this a little bit of curve to it. Colors, I think I'm going to use the tiny stars, and I'm just going to come in and fill in the bottom just to anchor this rainbow so it's not looking like it's, flying in here. And I think I'm going to do a little bit of reverse colors that I had before. So I'm going to start out with this rose gold, and I'm just going to come in and just start to pounce these in. All right, and then I'm going to come in with that blue. Actually, I can probably grab whatever the heck is on here. Again, I'm looking for it to be kind of soft, and then I'm just going to grab the red. Now, I realized in doing this, I have to be careful with these sections because I don't want to get this over into my book. So as I put this down, it's just being a little on the careful side. So again, I just wanted a little subtle, little kind of subtle wash of these stars. And if I want to, I can bring those stars down to make another layer. So I'm going to add a little bit more of the blue stars. And I'm just using what the heck is left off of here. And I'll put a couple more blue stars over here. And I am going to keep them in down on the bottom and not worry about the top. So I'm going to keep that nice and bright up there, but I'm going to keep these down here. You can mix and match these if you want to. Grab a little bit of that silver lining and just come in with these stars. And so it just gives this kind of like little soft wash. So it looks like that rainbow is not floating and gives it just a place to kind of anchor in there. All right. So now I'm going to write down my monthly intentions. And this was a big one for me. I had a lot of thought into what I wanted to focus on for this month, because like I said, I kind of tend to, in the summertime anyway, which is probably good. It's a little bit of a respite and a little bit of a rest for my brain. But this is my time. Like Barb had said, sometimes it's just, you just don't have the time. And so that's what it is kind of making the time or creating priorities. And Barb, if you want more of a demonstration, just ask me, and I'm happy to do that at any time for you for this set. It's really cute. This set is really cute. I have some cards on my website that I've used this with. Okay, so Mega Brush Alpha, I'm going to bring back. I'm just going to add in on the other side. So that's my cover page here, and I'm just going to add in monthly intentions on the other side. So I'm just going to grab the M, and I'm just going to grab my I. He fell. All right, there we go. And these, after I'm done with you guys today, are going to go in for a bath. They are dirty. Woo. All right, I'm actually going to use, I just happen to have this on my, it's a little pad, so I'm just going to use that as a resistance piece here. All right, I am going to just put this right up here. And as Barb said, it's always nice to have some of your writing. I do think it's important for people to see it because your voice too in some ways, but definitely your writing. All right. Now you saw where that M got a little funky because I wasn't pressing down in the middle. So I can just, you ready for this, Barb? Or whoever asked me about this? I'm just going to come in and just fill that in with a black pen. And it looks like it was there. So all right, now I'm going to do my eye. Now, as I'm doing this, and again, this is a meditative process, and that's really what it should be, is a meditative process, right? That's the great thing we love about crafting. It's a way to kind of escape or just even to connect, I think sometimes, connect with you and who you are. And that's what's really nice about this. All right, so I like to mix fonts here. So I'm going to do this in block print. And on purpose, I'm kind of going all over the place, and I'm okay with that. I need Helen here. I feel like I spelled that wrong. No, I did that right. Okay, so I have, so there's my monthly intentions. Now I have a little space here. I want to set up a really strong line, but I think what I'm going to do, I want to use my stenciling and keep this. So I'm going to grab the color swatches stencil. Love the stencil. And this is such a cool stencil because of the fact that it's so versatile. You can do so many different things with it. And I am going to grab just some tape, just because I'm going to mess up what I'm doing. I think I want them to be wide. So I'm going to go like this. So this is just stuff that I had on my desk. I'm going to use this, but I don't want the one that's on the bottom. So I'm just going to mush that. And then I don't want the stuff on the side, and that would be either side. So I'm just taking some tape and I'm just putting this off. And I definitely don't want what the heck is on the top. So I'm just grabbing whatever the heck tape I have left on here. You can see I had a little project that I can show you guys if you're interested. but I was messing around with some embossing paste. All right, and I'm just going to put this up here and just a little bit of extra here. Okay, so that's all set. All right, so I'm going to start out with the red because I want to keep the same color pattern. So I'm just going to start out with the Cherry Sweet. And I want this to be, just making sure it's lined up right. So I'm going to put this right under. And I'm just going to use, I have all these little dots, and this again is my thing about the dot lines. Not, I hate lines, but I don't mind the dots because those help me to line things up. And I'm just going to use those as my guide to make sure I'm staying straight as I move along. There we go. All right, so I'm going to go in with red, making sure my tape is all right. You can see why you really, really need the tape here. Okay, so that's Cherry Sweet. Now I'm going to move it over and I'm going to grab the silver lining. So I'm just going to take this, I'm going to pick the whole thing up and I'm just going to go right next door and I'm going to grab this. It's got a little blue on it, which I'm okay with. And it's also, you guys didn't tell me I needed to wipe off my stencil. I forgot. Wipe off your stencil so you don't get that residual ink where you don't want it to go. You could also use the second side. And again, I'm okay. It's okay. All right, so now I'm going to move it over. And now we're going to use the blue. And that's going to be a lot brighter. Here we go. All right, so hopefully that silver lining looks like it's white. All right, so again, just a little bit of red, white, and blue. I can take this and put lines around it, leave it like it is, whatever the heck. I'm actually going to grab some pens. And I'm just pulling off this tape so I can wipe my stencil so the blue doesn't stain it. Yes, you absolutely can, Barb. And just like I did here with the pen. So this is, it's a Sharpie pen. You could also use the Micron pens. These things are fabulous. The Altenew pens, unfortunately, those are on a shelf upstairs, in a different part of my craft room. And then the Flair pens. Any of these, even a ballpoint pen is totally fine. So any pen would totally be fine to write on this. And so you could use this to write, and you can write on these. It's not a problem. All right, so I'm just going to grab my ruler. And all I'm doing here is I just want to kind of highlight this and just make some little black lines. Whatever the heck my heart desires, that's what I'm doing here. And I'm just trying to segregate it because of the fact that it is very light. And I just want to separate this out. And I'm using black just because it's a neutral. Gold pen would be beautiful here. I just don't have it with me. You could do red, white, and blue. You could do whatever the heck you want. Yeah, exactly. Gold or silver pen on dark ink. Those would be great. All right, so I'm going to come in and I'm going to go down with the second line, but now I'm going to go in between each of these. Just as a different design. And do the same thing up here. All right, just to give it, again, just looks like a little roadway with cars now. But again, just to give it something, just a little bit of a different look. All right, so now I'm going to come in and I'm actually going to put down what my monthly intentions are. And I can come in with my stencil and I'm actually going to use this for each of my intentions. And normally I kind of create like a big, huge box here. And I could even use this stencil. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. Grab my rainbow stencil. And I'm going to keep it. So it's going to end up looking a lot like this. And I'm just going to put that down here just to give it, just to kind of make it look a little bit cohesive with what's going on. All right, so I'm going to grab the red on this side. All right, so there's my red, and then I'm just going to flip this. Got to wipe it off first, or else I'm going to get a really funky color. So I'm just cleaning my stencil. Oh, that's a nice one. Altenew's honeysuckle stencil. That's beautiful for your July page. That's going to be really nice. Now you notice that when I put these end to end, this goes over here. So all I'm going to do is just push my stencil in closer, and I can use a little bit of tape to mark this off, or I can just leave it where it is, which is what I'm going to do. And I'll just be careful when I go along. Or you know what? They blend and they make purple. Who cares? All right, so I'm going to come in with the blue. And that way you have a blend between the two. So lots of stenciling for this month. Glad. I can't wait to see that, Tracy. I want to see how that came along. I don't think I have the honeysuckle stencil. I'll have to take a look at that one. All right, so now we have this little track, and this is where I'm going to put some stuff in. Now, I'm also going to step this up just a little bit. And I'm actually going to use my black pen. And these are dye inks, so these dry relatively quickly. And I'm putting on a very light coating of ink, so it's not too heavy. So they'll dry even faster than they normally would. So I'm just going to come in, and I can just come in and just make some marks. And again, this just kind of gives it helps it to separate it out. These just look like little stitches. You can put, I'm going to do little asterisks in there as well. You can put double line, whatever the heck you want to do, but I'm just kind of giving it a little detail. You could do the stars, but I'm just kind of giving it a little bit of detail. Like I said, this is really meant to be meditative. And I'm just putting little stars in between just to kind of give it a little bit of something, you know. So thanks, Tina. All right, so now we have kind of what our monthly intentions. And so now we're going to put those in. So for me, one of the things that I wanted to think about this month was to try new crafts. Or different crafts, or resurrect crafts. I'll put that in here, resurrect. From the past. So this might be, so it's giving you a little bit of a challenge, right? Starting my stitching. Yeah, right, Barbara. It's giving you a little bit of a challenge, right? Where it's like, hey, you know, maybe those projects you've abandoned, can you spend 5-10 minutes on them a day, or just take a kind of a larger chunk out of your week and resurrect those? Or if you're like, I'm just never, ever going to start this again, then you say, you know what? I tried it. It's not for me. I'm going to move on to something else. But this just gives you an opportunity to say like, hey, those things that you did before is it still you? Is it still you? And is it still part of you? So think about that. But that's what kind of one of my things that I'm thinking about this month is what I want to do. The other thing for me, this is like my try it month. That's really what it is. And that would be cute to put some words in here that like kind of signify what you want your month to be in these little boxes. All right. And then I'm also going to try some recipes. I haven't tried those yet, Tracy, so those are all on my list. And it might be canning, it might be whatever it happens to be, but it's trying out something new. And then the other one is going new places. So this is my month of new, my month of trying things and my month of new. Whether it's a restaurant or museum or music or whatever it happens to be. So think about that. That's what you want to do. So I'm going to just put some words in here. So I'm going to put in try it, new, push yourself. And that's kind of nice because it just gives you like what it is. Oh, you made vegan chili today. That's good. All right. All right. So there's our month. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to set this up. Before I go to that, I'm just going to try. This is looking a little bit. Actually, I think I'm probably okay. I lost my Milky Way stencil. Oh, here it is. Nope, I think that's going to be too crazy. I was going to put some stars over here, but I think it's going to be too busy. All right, so I'm just going to move on. So here's my week, and I know that July 1st has already passed and July 2nd has already passed. So we're going to start off with July 3rd. So that's what we are starting with today. So we have July 3rd, and the 3rd brings us to the 10th. Is that right? Double checking here. Brings us to the 9th. Okay. I knew that wasn't right. All right. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm going to kind of keep with that same color scheme. And I'm just going to grab a red. And I'm just going to come in with a blue, just to give this a little bit of weight. Since this is going to be Independence Week, we'll keep it up. Yes, today is the 2nd. Yes, I do Monday through Sunday. That's how my weeks are kind of are organized. So my Sunday is in the last way. That's the way I kind of think about my weeks, because Monday's always like my start day. All right, so now I'm gonna kind of flip the script on this. And what I need to do is I need to track a couple of things. So this is going to be my tracking side, and there's a couple of different things that I want to track. But I'm going to flip the script on this. And what I realize that I need every day is I need a to-do list, or like, hey, you need to accomplish these 2 things list, because otherwise I'm just not doing it. So I need to make my boxes a little bit bigger, and I'm going to grab my stencil, my color block stencil. And I think this is going to be too small for me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This is square, so that doesn't matter. Okay, I think I'm going to have to do this freehand, so I apologize, guys. You know what I'm going to do, though? I'm going to do it this way, though. All right, I'm going to start by just going ahead and having these out. So here's my Monday. Here is my Tuesday. And then here is my Wednesday. Okay. So I have these days down. So this is my July 3rd, July 4th, and July 5th. Okay. Today's Declaration Day. Well, I declare. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I think this works now. Yes, that's beautiful. All right, I'm just going to do this in pencil because I want to keep it a little on the neutrally side, and I think this will work. And then I can color it in when I complete whatever the heck it is that I'm putting in here. All right, so there's my 3 days. Now I'm going to do the same thing. And what I'm going to do is now I'm going to do the next 3 days. I'm going to shift this over a little bit because it's a little too crazy. So I'm going to grab the blue. So there's 1. That's 5. And here is 6. All right. And then July 6, July 7, July 8. All right. And now here's my pencil. And I'm just going to come in. And you can see how you can extend, just using this color block stencil, you can start to extend things. It's kind of nice to have just a stencil like this. And I don't know if it's, I got to write to Altenew because I know it's been out of stock, but it is just really great to have such a versatile, if you can even if you don't find this from Altenew, if you find just like a, a stencil with basic shapes, it's just really nice to have something like this. Yeah, Nisa, I'm with you. It's like Monday to Sunday just makes the most sense to me. All right, so now I'm coming in and I'm going to do my last little day. So this one I'm going to do in the gray. And this is July 9th. And here is the rest of my little space. All right, so the purpose of these, before I was kind of writing down what happened to me, this is really about planning for the future. And so these are the things that I am going to be doing. And this is something that was always part of my to-do list, which was to journal the night before about and make a list for the next day. And it's something that I have to say is really been helpful for me, because when I go to work, I know exactly my work's a little different because I usually have meetings and stuff, but I have these times where I have to think and process and kind of think about where I'm going to, how I'm actually going to kind of move what we're doing. And I have to plan for professional development, and I have to do a lot of different things. And so if I didn't have a schedule to say, these are the things that I'm going to do when I get to work, then I'm all over the place. And then you allow what happens at work to sweep you up, and you never move your department forward. So I have to kind of think about those things before I get to work, so I know what I'm doing when I get there. So this is going to be my little space. I can decorate this. I can color it. I'm going to leave that because I don't know what I want to do with that. Altenew does have rectangle stamps. And there's this fabulous stamp called Geoframes, which I use. And I like that one a lot because it's actually barb. It's got like a whole bunch of different shapes to it, and they're just literally frames. And let me show you what it looks like because I have it. I was using it. Here we go. This is a stamp. So that's what it looks like. And it's just really, really pretty frame. It's literally a frame. And it's just nice to have that in there. All right, so I'm going to leave that here. Now over here is going to be my tracking section. So what are the things that I want to track? And I wanted to write this down on my paper because there's a lot of things I want to track right now. So because I have like, what are my new experiences? What are the things that I'm going to be doing? So one of the things I want to track is crafting time. And what did I do during that time? So I wanted to, this gave me an idea when we were doing the Zentangle thing yesterday. And this has been on my to-do list, I think about a year. Yeah, I'd want to say about a year. Oh, I don't know, Hill Blossoms. I'll take a look at that one, Tracy. This is a relatively cheap watercolor pad that I got from Michael's. And this, I don't even know. I probably bought these like two or 3 years ago, but I really want to get better at my watercolor skills. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to spend a little time every single day and literally going through this. And I even bought tracing paper because they recommend tracing paper. And you can actually trace this onto your page. So I can show you guys, or we can do this together, but if you want to make a commitment that there's always something that you're doing. So anyway, this starts off with, some really basic, and any of these books I think are pretty good. I got this one because it wasn't just flowers. It's like a whole bunch of different things. And these look really scary to me. Wow. I don't know what I just got myself in for. But I figured this is a great way to start. It's a book. The whole point is to just try it and see how it goes, and just to kind of get your skills up a little bit. And these look really complicated, but it does just start with things that are relatively simple to do. So and she goes step by step. This one's called Watercolor the Easy Way by Sarah Berenson. And I like that she kind of starts. So where I'm going to start literally is this. So I'm just going to start here with watercolor basics, making layers, making little heart, like all kinds of stuff like this. How do you do leaves? So this, I'm not even going to start with the projects yet. I'm literally just going to start here with what the strokes look like and how do you make stuff. And so that's where I'm going to start. But I figure that's one of the things that I wanted to do. Yeah, right, Barb? It's scary because it's new. I know I'm going to stink at it at first, but I also know this is it. This is my time to do it. So I kind of wanted to give that to myself. So that's why I set myself July as like the try something new kind of section. So I wanted to, so that's going to be part of my to-do list over here is to watercolor. And that's something that's going to be every day. So I'm just going to build a little check mark box, and I'm literally going to write in watercolor. And that's one of the things that I'm going to do. Yeah, that's a great idea, Tracy, is to just 10 minutes and just kind of do it. And that's one of the things that I want to do for that one. But I have to sit and think. I don't know what I want to do, but that's what I'm going to be doing is setting up what am I going to be doing every day. So I want to track my crafting time. So one of the things I still got to track is kind of like how I'm doing every single day. So I'm going to start there. And this is just my little mood tracker. So I'm going to keep this in here. I'm going to keep it right in the same spot. I'm not sure. I think for kind of crafting, what I'll do is set up what those trackers are. And then the other thing is just a little bit of exercise. So that's what I'm going to set up as well. So this is just my little mood tracker. I'll do this in red. And this is just every day. So here's 7-3, 7-4, 7-5, 7-6, 7-7, 7-8, and that's how you can tell that you need one more. 7-9. The other thing that I need to track is how is my garden doing every week and what produce am I pulling in. So I'm going to pull this in as kind of like my garden progress. And then this is going to be my crafting progress. So that's how I'm going to separate these out right now. So are you guys thinking about trying anything new? Do you have a word of the month or a phrase for the month or a thought of the month for July? Hand lettering. Me too, Barb. That's also on my list, and I have a book over there that I want to do hand lettering. That might be August for me. All right. Thanks, guys. This is going to be good. It's going to be fun. It's something that, I'm really looking forward to. And I think it's going to be, hopefully I'll get better. Maybe I can teach a class eventually on watercoloring, which would be great. All right, so up here it's going to be my crafting tracker. Do this one in blue. And I think what I want to do here, I could do a graph, which would make sense. And then I can just do, did I do it or not? I think I'm just going to keep it simple like that. I think I'm just going to keep it simple. If I have to sit there and I have to like write in there, what did you do today and reflect on it? I'm not going to do it. So I'm just going to make a really simple graph. The graphs are really nice. Tracy, you found these to be great. I know you and I have talked about them because I put a dot in. I might put in a little box about, hey, what did you do at that time? But it's really just super simple and it's really, really done. Yes, never been used box each day. That is a super great goal. Also good thing and fun thing to track as well. So for this, all I'm going to do is just put in the days of the week down at the bottom. So you can see I'll have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then here I'll just have minutes. So this will just be time. And then I can just put those minutes in. So if I do, let's say 120 is probably too crazy, but this is on like new crafting, if that makes sense. So this is like new crafting. And so my goal here, I'm going to put 60 as my goal. And so that means that half of this is about 30 minutes. And then of course, 0 is down at the bottom. And that's what I do. And then I just put, would have put it. Oh, good, Tracy. I'm so glad the graphs have helped. They're so simple, so easy. I'm putting a dot in. I don't have to do anything else. But when you see those dots laid out and you kind of see it through the week, it really, really helps a lot. All right, so for this down here, what I'm going to do, because the other thing I have going on is I have my garden. And I have a little garden tracker, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to write this in. Let me do this in the gray. This is something that I can keep track of what the heck is happening in my garden. I can take a look at produce. I can do recipes. What have I done? And I'm just going to keep this really open and loosey-goosey. Yeah. 60 minutes a day. Sometimes, Tracy, I get a little lost. I know. Are you saying 60 minutes because it seems such a low time or a high time? That's what I would like to know. All right. So what we have today, so we set up our month of July, set out what those intentions are, and then set up, for me anyway, I really kind of flipped the script on how I've done this. And I keep changing it because, and I think that's a good thing. Number one, you won't get bored. But number two is it's really about what's going to make the most sense for how you live your day-to-day life. Just again, you're just kind of keeping note. This is a way of thinking about things meditatively. And it's through that and doing a little bit. Well, Tracy, it's the summertime. It's the summertime. So I got to give myself stuff to do because otherwise I'm not a good place to it's not good for me if I don't have anything to do. So I have to keep things very, very organized, and I have to make sure that I'm in a routine or else I get a little lost. So this is a good thing for me, but this is what I want to do. And we'll see. And if you guys wanted to, any of the things that we have, we'll see how this watercoloring experiment of mine happens. I'm not so super sure, but that's what I wanted to say is that for this tracking, it's really helpful because it's how you get to where it is that you want to go. And just those little small changes that you make on a day-to-day basis, that's going to eventually lead you to wherever it is that you want to be and however it is that you want to live your life. All right, I just wanted to say a huge thank you for showing up today and for hanging out with me. and I will be here next week for week 25. And I wanted to say, I will, Tracy. I wanted to say that we are almost halfway through the year. I'm going to just point that out. I thought about that because I'm like, oh, week 25. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. There's only 52 weeks in a year. And so we're just at about halfway through. So, and again, we started late. So that means the year is already through. So Tracy, there's the book. I'll take a picture of it and send it over to you. And honestly, any of the books are fine. I have another one that's like watercolor, easy flowers. I don't think it matters. You could do YouTube tutorials. I just do better when I can sit there and look at it. And I'll, you know, yeah, absolutely. I hope it, setting a timer for laundry. Yes, Ann. Yeah, I'm so glad you enjoyed it, Tina. And Barb, yeah, try it. Just one thing, Barb. Just try one thing and just say, I'm going to do it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever the heck it is, and then see how you do it. And then all this journaling is just a way to keep yourself on track. That's it. Because if you're holding yourself accountable to something where you actually have to write it in a book and you got to go back and you got to look at it, you might have a better chance. And this just gives me, this is that 5-minute wind down at the end of the night. Before I go to bed, I head over to my journal and I just kind of write in it, and just helps me to get all of those things that are in my mind and just get them on the page so I can close up the book and so I can kind of move on with my day. All right. Thank you guys. And I will see you back here